Most people never fail because they tried and lost. They fail because they never truly started. They quit before the first step. They dream with their eyes open, but live with their hearts closed. They talk about success, visualize it, even pray for it, but deep down they don't believe they deserve it. They think failure happens when something goes wrong. But the truth is, failure begins the moment you choose comfort over courage. It's the moment you decide to wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect alignment of stars before taking a single step forward. And that moment is when most people lose the race before it even begins. Because the mind, that invisible battlefield, is where 99% of defeats occur. Before any action, before any outcome, before the world sees your effort, your mind already casts its vote. I can or I can't. Most people live their entire lives ruled by that one decision. Success doesn't start with money, contacts, or opportunity. It begins with mental permission. It begins the moment you stop waiting for validation and decide to authorize your own greatness. Every great empire, every fortune, every breakthrough in human history began inside someone's mind. A thought, held with conviction, backed by relentless effort, transformed into reality. Edison didn't have light when he began his journey. He had a vision in a world full of darkness. Carnegie didn't have steel empires. He had an idea about what man could build when he refused to accept limitation. Disney didn't start with magic. He created it because he dared to believe in imagination more than in fear. So why do most people fail before they even begin? Because they build their future on fear instead of faith. They build walls around their potential and call it being realistic. They measure their worth by the opinions of others. They convince themselves that someday is a plan. But the ones who rise, the ones who win, they treat failure as feedback, not finality. They understand that losing is not the opposite of winning. It's a part of it. They walk into the storm, not because they love chaos, but because they know that diamonds are born from pressure, not comfort. And that's the truth most people avoid. They crave success but reject struggle. They want the mountain view without the climb. They want strength without the weight. But the law of life is unbreakable growth demands resistance. When you lift the weight of your fears, you build the muscle of belief. When you push through rejection, you forge resilience. When you act despite uncertainty, you prove to yourself that your dreams are not fragile. They're waiting for your courage. So if you feel like you're standing at the edge, unsure where to start, remember this. The hardest step is not the first. It's deciding that the next step matters. Don't ask, "What if I fail?" Ask, "What if I never try?" Because if you refuse to begin, you have already accepted defeat. The future belongs to those who show up when no one is watching, who move when everyone else is frozen in fear. Every great success story begins with a single decision. I'm going to try, no matter what happens. And that decision changes everything. You see, success doesn't begin when the world notices you. It begins the moment you notice yourself. The real war is not against competition or circumstance or luck. It's against the voice inside your own mind, that whisper that says, "You're not ready yet. You're not good enough. You'll look foolish." And every time you believe that whisper, you surrender your future to fear. Most people never realize that the mind is not a cage. It's a weapon. It's the most powerful tool ever given to man. It can either enslave you or set you free. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But belief doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in conflict. It grows in moments where the world tells you to quit and you choose to persist anyway.
The most dangerous thing about doubt is not that it makes you stop believing in yourself, it's that it makes you stop trying. And that's where dreams go to die, not in defeat, but in hesitation. You must understand something. Life will test you long before it rewards you. It will ask, how badly do you want it? It will strip away your excuses, expose your fears, and challenge every ounce of faith you think you have. And only when you decide to rise, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary, will the universe begin to move with you. Every great achiever from Edison to Lincoln, from Ford to Jobs, they all faced the same storm. But they had one thing in common. They believed more in their vision than in their fear. They refused to let temporary defeat define permanent destiny. Thomas Edison didn't fail 1,000 times. He succeeded in discovering 1,000 ways that didn't work. That's mindset. That's the difference between failure and foundation. You have to stop waiting for motivation and start mastering discipline. Motivation is fleeting. It's the spark. Discipline is the flame that keeps burning when everything else goes dark. Most people wait for the feeling to start before they act. But the truth is, you act first, and the feeling follows. That's how momentum is built. That's how leaders are born. Every single morning, you're given two choices: to rise with purpose, or to repeat yesterday's excuses, to chase your dreams, or to surrender to your doubts. Success doesn't come to the one who wants it most. It comes to the one who works for it longest, the one who stays consistent when inspiration fades, the one who keeps moving even when no one claps. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. It's the silent force that separates the dreamers from the doers. Do you think Henry Ford knew exactly how to build his empire when he started? Number. He simply refused to give up when everyone else called him crazy. He understood that vision must come before victory, because the world can only believe in you after you believe in yourself. Most people fail before they begin because they never take ownership of that belief. They outsource their confidence to opinions. They let rejection rewrite their worth. But belief is not something you find, it's something you build. It's forged through small promises kept, through actions repeated, through the discipline of showing up when you least feel like it. You can read every book on success. You can watch every motivational video on the internet. But until you take control of your own mind, you'll always live someone else's story. Your mind is your greatest asset and your greatest enemy. Train it, challenge it, feed it with clarity, with gratitude, with belief. Guard it from negativity like a soldier guards the gates of his kingdom. Because once your mind aligns with your purpose, there is nothing, not time, not failure, not fear, that can stop you. When you see people succeeding, don't envy them. Study them. They didn't start with luck, they started with belief. They saw what didn't exist and refused to stop until it did. The truth is, greatness doesn't belong to the chosen few. It belongs to the few who choose, the ones who decide that excuses have expired. That time is not a luxury, but a responsibility. That purpose is not something you wait to find. It's something you create through persistence. You want to know why most people fail before they even begin? Because they spend their lives preparing for a moment that never comes. They keep waiting for a signal, a sign, a perfect alignment of conditions. But winners create their own conditions. They build their doors when opportunity doesn't knock. They learn while others procrastinate. They begin even when they don't feel ready. And that's the paradox of success. No one ever feels ready. You just begin. And readiness meets you on the road. Vision. That's where everything begins. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. You cannot chase a destiny you never define. Most people drift through life not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack direction. They are busy, but not productive. They are moving, but not progressing. They mistake activity for achievement. But the great ones, they see their future long before it arrives. They don't wait for the path to appear. They carve it. They live from vision, not from memory. Their eyes are fixed not on where they are, but on where they are becoming. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever you can conceive and believe, you can achieve." But the secret hidden inside those words is this: you must first conceive it clearly enough to make it real in your own imagination, because the mind cannot manifest what the heart cannot picture. Your vision is the blueprint of your destiny. It's the quiet fire that burns behind every sacrifice, every setback, every sleepless night. It's what keeps you walking when the road vanishes under your feet. Without vision, life becomes survival. With vision, life becomes creation. Walt Disney once stood in an empty field, pointing at nothing but dirt, and said, "That's where the castle will be." Everyone around him laughed they couldn't see it, but he could. He saw the dream before the foundation. He built a world out of imagination before there was brick or stone. That's what vision does. It turns invisible faith into visible reality. It requires you to believe in what no one else can yet see. Because the truth is, people won't believe in your dream until you've already built it. They won't see the light until you've walked through the darkness. Clarity is your compass. When you know exactly what you want, every distraction loses its power. But when you wander without direction, every noise feels urgent. That's why most people fail, not because they lack potential, but because they lack focus. They chase 10 things halfway instead of one thing all the way.